All right, welcome back to the channel. So, when it comes to the greatest shooters in NBA history, you got to talk about Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Kevin Durant, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Pierce, Jerry West, Michael Jordan, Glenn Rice, Mark Price. So many great shooters of the basketball who had a beautiful jump shot and were just pure jump shooters. We'll be here all day just listing off many players in league history. But I feel like there's a player who truly gets taken for granted because he is the one who helped popularize the jump shot that we all know of and see today. His name is Paul Arizin. He played for the Philadelphia Warriors from 1950 until 1962. This guy is one of the most interesting players in league history I ever did my research on. If you look at his story, it's super interesting and fascinating, yo. Like, this is a guy who didn't even make his high school team, and he went on to become one of the first unstoppable scorers in NBA history, yo. So it's like super interesting, dude. But yeah, let me get in to his story. So Paul Arizin, again, he played for the Philadelphia Warriors for 10 seasons. He made 10 NBA All-Star appearances. It would have been 12 if he didn't have to serve in the Korean War. Yes, he served in the Korean War. He missed the 1952-53 and the 53-54 NBA seasons due to military service, of course. So it would have been 12 All-Star appearances. But yeah, he won an NBA championship right after returning from military service, yo. Like 2 seasons later. He won the 1956 NBA championship. And he definitely would have won the Finals MVP award if that existed at the time. He was the best scorer in that series. He's a Hall of Famer. He was named to the 25th, 50th, and 75th NBA anniversary teams. But yeah, his stats just don't tell the real story, yo. What made Arizin a special player was how he scored the basketball. Again, the pioneer of the jump shot, the pioneer of jump shooting. Most players during his era did set shots, which is basically when both feet are on the floor still and a player is shooting two-handed push shots. That is the reason why I really believe field goal percentages from when the league first started, let's say from 1946 up until the early 1960s, field goal percentages hovered around 41%. And it's a little higher today, which is like 45, 44%. And yeah, set shots are the reason why field goal percentages were low. But Arizin is the one who helped change that. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, the child of French immigrants. And, he played pickup playground basketball in the streets of Philly. And he developed a habit of jumping into his shot, shooting at the peak, using one hand dominant release. And this is something that is normal today. Of course, you guys are probably thinking, man, a jump shot, man, that's nothing. Like, we see it all the time. That's the shot attempt that most players take in the game. I believe it's over 70% of shot attempts in an NBA game on average are jump shots. So, yeah, it sounds normal, but during his time, that was truly revolutionary because he was a player who had really good jumping ability. He can leap, and he would like to hang in the air. So, he would hang in the air, wait for the defender to come down, and then, shoot the ball. Super smart, just a super smart strategy to do. And you can kind of say he's like the precursor to a dominant, high-scoring wing player. The precursor to a Elgin Baylor, who came on to the league, a couple of years after him. To a Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. He is the predecessor of the high-volume shot attempts, just a dominant scoring wing player. You feel me? And he really is the first great jump shooter. He's the very first great jump shooter in NBA history. Yeah, he was a face-up scoring forward. Other tendencies he really had on the court was he was just a consistent mover without the basketball. He wasn't just a guy who dominate the ball. Like, he had the ball in his hand all the time. He can move without the ball, catching the ball at the elbows, quick one-dribble pull-up jump shots, high-arcing one-handed jumpers. And he was a tough rebounder. He crashed the boards for his career. He averaged 22.8 points and 8.6 rebounds a game. One of the best rebounding small forwards of all time. He just knew how to use angles. He was also really good when he had the ball in triple threat position. He had a really, smooth face-up game. He had that jab step, yo. Go look up clips on YouTube of him doing the jab step. He would catch defenders off balance and then just shoot over them. Or he would just like jab, wait for them to bite. And then when they do, he just blow by them. Because although he was a jump shooter, he got a lot of points, in the paint. He was really good at attacking the basket. And he was a really good foul shooter. For his career, he shot 81% from the foul line. So, and he made a lot of free throws. He made just as many field goals as he did free throws. So, yeah, this guy was really good. I feel like if I had to compare him to an NBA player today, he would be a mix of Devin Booker and Klay Thompson. That's who I, see his game as. Just like that smooth mid-range scorer like D-Book, and just his off-ball movement like Klay. You feel me? But yeah, this guy was a great player. He led the league in scoring twice. The first time he led the league in scoring, it was in his sophomore season when he averaged 25.4 points per game, and he shot an efficient 44.8% from the field. Again, for that time period, that is really high because the league average was the low 40 percentile range. So a guy who's shooting 44, damn near 45% from the field was extremely efficient at that time, especially for a non-big man, a guy who's a wing player, small forward. And the second season he led the league in scoring was in the 1956-1957 season when he averaged 25.6 points and he shot 42% from the field. So, again, around league average, a little better than league average actually. But yeah, I feel like this guy, it may not sound like impressive today. Oh, he averaged 25 points because in today's NBA, there are over 30 people who average 20 points in today's league. But think about it. In the 1950s, a guy was averaging 25 points who shot a lot of perimeter jump shots, long-range twos, and there was no three-point line. The league was really physical. The paint was packed. It was clogged up. There was no spacing like how it is today, and he was able to average 25 points. Yo, that's super incredible. This guy was a good player. And this is why I hate when I see people talk bad about, previous past players in league history. It's so crazy because you never see any sports fans of other, fans of other sports do that with players from the past. You never see baseball fans say, "Oh, Babe Ruth, he couldn't play today. Oh man, them numbers are flawed, man. Look at the time he played in." Or hockey fans talk crazy about Wayne Gretzky saying, "Oh man, if he played today, he wouldn't have done none of that." Blah blah blah. It's disrespectful. And I feel like the NBA needs to do a better job in talking about players from the past and educating ignorant people. Now, I really feel like if you talk ish about the old school NBA and you just think the NBA is just way better today because it's the modern era, it just has to be better because it's modern. I just feel like you don't really respect the game of basketball. Let's say, what if there's a crazy person, right? Let's say it's 2065. And there's this crazy person that is saying, "Man, Steph Curry couldn't play in the 2060s, man. He played in the weak 2010s." He couldn't play in our era. Like, that literally is the equivalent to what y'all are doing. Just because you didn't see them play, and they played in a different era, you're like that. That's just ridiculous to me. You feel me? But yeah, the NBA needs to do a better job in like talking about players from the past. It's crazy. But hey, we have YouTube for that. There's so many great YouTube channels that talk about old school players. Shout out to Johnny Arnett, Basketball Universe, Too Raw for TV. That's I've been watching that dude for years. He's one of the GOATs, of this basketball YouTube stuff. NBA self-research facts. That's my guy. But yeah, do your research on former NBA players from the past, man. They have it was really good basketball. You feel me? Like, it was really good basketball. But yeah, let me get back to Paul Arizin. He's a guy who he has some notable moments in his career. Again, he won the championship in 1956 with the Philadelphia Warriors. And again, like I said, if there was a Finals MVP award during that time period, he would have won it. You feel me? He was the best scorer on the floor, and he really led them to the championship. They beat the Fort Wayne Pistons, and he's somebody who had multiple 40-point games in an era where teams barely cracked 90 points. So, him scoring 40 was basically like somebody scoring 60 points today. You feel me? But yeah, two-time scoring champ. That just goes to show you how he was one of the best scoring forwards at the time. Really, really, really good face-up scorer, face-up forward. Really good player, man. But yeah, he's really important to basketball history. The jump shot, it didn't basically become super popular during the time he played. It did take a little longer for the jump shot to become mainstream and highly used in the NBA. Most players were still doing set shots and push shots. The league was dominated by big men. You feel me? So, yeah, as scoring, in time when as scoring evolved, like different moves, and as the game was just evolving overall, yeah, it became more of a face-up game. A lot of people were shooting the ball, shooting regular jumps. They saw the jump shot was better. That's how you become more accurate with shooting the basketball. So, yeah, he helped transition basketball from being a ground-based shooting to vertical shooting. And this is really a massive evolution. Again, this is why I believe that, the league average field goal percentage went up, because the jump shot is just a more accurate way to really shoot, to get the basketball into the hoop, right? So, yeah, again, I feel like this guy is forgotten today because the NBA media, they don't really do a good job in talking about past players. And some people are just ignorant. They're really fake basketball fans. And, because he just played in the past, they just don't really care to learn. But, hey, make no mistake, man. Like I always say, any player can play in any era. Any great player can play in any era. So I even feel like, yes, the cream of the crop players from the 50s can play in today's NBA. You feel me? Imagine a guy like him, Paul Arizin, a guy who takes a lot of jump shots. You tell me if he played in today's NBA, him knowing that he can get an extra point for shooting further out, 3 points, of course. You tell me he wouldn't, take a lot of threes and be one of the best 3-point shooters and scorers in the NBA today. You know what I'm saying? With the modern day training and just knowledge of the game as it evolved, come on now. And with better shoes, better equipment, come on, bro. You tell me these players couldn't play today? Come on now. That's just ignorant. He will be a really good off-ball scorer. He'll be lethal in the mid-range and from three. And again, this guy shot 81% from the foul line. That's how I usually determine how past players who played in the non-3-point line era would have been a good 3-point shooter, especially if they were known to shoot a lot of mid-range jump shots. If they were jump shooters and they shot good from the foul line, I'll say, this person definitely would, if he played today, would have definitely shot good from three, for sure, without a doubt. So, he will be a guy who can space the floor for teams, an off-ball threat, and just yo, he would be able to fit in today's game. You feel me? Like, yeah, he was a really great player, and yeah, he was a pioneer in basketball history. So, yeah, I just wanted to briefly talk about that. You know, talk about Paul Arizin and him being the pioneer of jump shooting, because I found it really interesting. But yeah, you guys, I don't know. I want y'all to tell me your thoughts in comments in this in the comment section. You feel me? I wanted to just briefly talk about this because he's somebody who I just found his story interesting. You know, he didn't even play for Villanova initially. Like, he was a student at Villanova, but the coach or one of the coaching staff saw him playing in the rec league and wanted him to just, you know, play for the school. You know, that school in Pennsylvania, Villanova University, and has a walk-on. And he became a great scorer, you know, an All-American player. And he's somebody who really didn't even want to really be in the NBA, but he was just so naturally good at the game of basketball. He was a guy who just liked playing ball for fun. Again, he was playing in the rec league. And when the coaching staff from Villanova, you know, saw him playing, and, you know, that led him to dominate and become a really good scorer in college, one of the best players in the nation, and then, of course, become an NBA player, and he was an NBA legend, you know, after his career was said and done. And yeah, to me, he's a pioneer of this game, yo. You know, he's the one that helped evolve the game of basketball. So that's why he's so important to me. So I just had to talk about it. But again, y'all, tell me your thoughts and opinions. Yeah, what do y'all think about Paul Arizin? Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned in to these next coming videos I'm going to release in the following days and weeks. All right? Peace.